Hey guys, my name's Ty Brown. I'm with TysPlanes.com. Yeah, my website's Ty's Planes. That's all I used to do. Now I've got into doing some train things also. I'm here today. I've got a new building from Just Plane Folk. They mostly do figures and other accessories for the model railroads for many years, and he's come out with some new buildings. This is a small barber shop. I've seen him do one for antique, like a different sign up here for antique shop. Just you can make it multiple different things. It's mostly around 122.5 scale. It would work for 120.3 scale, but it'd be the door's tall enough. It'd be a really small building in the 120.3 scale. Building comes pre-painted. It's got a front porch. It's got it's got a bench. It's got the barber pole. It has a front porch. It also has a pre-painted interior floor. Now I have done some work on this. It looks like it's a spun cast building, but it's got a really nice outside. It also has it has supports that installs. They got their little places that install on the side of the building back here once you get it. I'm probably going to use this on my layout, but one of the things I wanted to show you today with this was that I do a lot of vacuum forming. This does not have an interior already built into it. So what I did is I went ahead and put together a quick interior for this thing. It's 3 pieces. There's the back door, and there is the 2 sides, all in one piece. Now here is the piece all painted. I've got it I'm going to show you how to put this together real quick. It's just individual styrene sides. They have, you can see on the back edge where it stops, and this allows the door or the rear to be glued directly to that. But there's a little trial fitting at first. I'm gonna get stuff together. We'll go through that. Oh, I did want to show you the building also comes with decals. You cut that out and you can stick it right there, and there's one for right above the door, and there's 2 more posters that are on there. When I was looking at it, he does have some different signs, so you could check with him, see what other signage is available. So if you had, if you're a small town, you had 2 or 3 of the same building. I'm sure they had one person building them all. They looked similar. You could have, like I think he already saw a barber shop and then an antique shop right beside it. Anyway, but you can see the wires coming out of this, and I did put the interior in it and have it had it lit up, and it looks really good. And you could put a full interior in it if that is what you want to do. So let me get stuff together, and I'll show you how I put this interior together real quick, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, here we are back at the building. You can see that this used to be all white on the inside. You can see this, it's like a beige white. I guess that's a resin material that they used. Anyway, I have, since I went ahead and installed the interior that I had in there, I went ahead and painted the interior black because I've got LEDs in there to light this thing up. So I didn't want you to be able to see the ceiling itself. So I went ahead and just painted the whole thing black above here. But that was for me. What I'm going to tell you to do is I would go ahead and put this together and do a trial fit before you glue anything. But this is one of the simplest things. I make cockpit kits for model airplanes, and this is one of the easiest things to put together and paint. So all you have to do is you're going to get 3 pieces here. Now it does have what I call flashing all the way around, and I've cut it off the other pieces over here, but I was going to show you how I cut these off. But anyway, it comes down at a 90 degree, and if you've got to have a line to cut along, just take a pencil and just mark it right along the base there. You see that line? And all we're doing is going to take the scissors and we're going to cut that line out. Now I've already cut the other sides, but we're just going to cut straight down that line. Alright, now on these, you can tell which is the back. The front goes all the way out to the edge, and the rear has an indent. So all that this does is you can see that the side has an indent. We come in here and that just glues right up. I didn't get all that flashing off. You got to make sure you get it back there to where it's 90 degrees or it won't slide into place. Let's make sure I got the other one done. Yeah. All right, so it pulls on over, and we're going to glue that. And the best thing to glue this with is just plain old CA glue. I'm just going to take a bead. You know how CA does, it kind of clots off. All right, I'm going to run a bead of CA down here. The good thing about CA, once it sets on this, it is set for good. So you want to make sure your sides are all matched up. You want to kind of make sure you stay at 90 degrees. Make sure it's just where you want it. Let me get down here where you can see it. I'm holding this in place, and I'm going to hit it with the kicker. I don't glue my fingers to it first. Let's see if we can get this to hold. When I'm in a hurry, of course, it's not going to set up fast. All right, that one's locked on. We're going to take the other side. We've got to make sure we got our flashing off far enough. And you're just making sure you got enough left there to make a glue joint too. So I still got a flat piece right here. All right, we'll trial fit it first. It goes right up against that door. All right. Oh crap, sorry about that. Had it too loose. All right, so we're gonna put this one on. Make sure we're flush. All right, now we're gonna let that set up just a second. Make sure I got a good glue joint. Now, one thing you can do, you need to choose where, how you're gonna paint this. This one, because I was in a hurry, I just painted acrylic paints, just the plain old acrylic paints directly onto the styrene. Now, if you want, you can pre-prime that. I've used on the styrene, I've used Floquil paints, both the acrylic and the water-based paints on them. It holds up pretty good. Now this, I just kind of brushed it on to give me a feel of a little bit of a wood base on it. And see, the problem with acrylic, you can see where I've scratched it and it just comes right off. That's why I'm saying you may want to prime it first to hold that. If you're not going to do a lot of handling it, it may hold up well enough for you to get it installed. But anyway, what we're going to do now that we're in together here, I have pre-fit these things, or made my things the right length. Now, one thing you do have a lip around the bottom here, and according to the way they cut it, you may have to sand off. I had to sand off one of the corners down here. You may have to sand this a little bit to get that in place. This actually comes right above this edge here, and that's where the interior floor fits right in there too. So you need to get this thing has to come on in and go past that and then sit back down on it. One thing I did find out is you can barely see a little bit of white here. I'm going to end up having to paint this brown, and when the light's on, if I paint it brown, you won't even be able to tell that there's a separation there. But anyway, to get this in place, you do have to fold it over a little bit. And slide it in. The good thing about styrene is it will go right in there. Just push this back into place. All right, let me get this settled in there. Right, I forgot I had to relieve a little bit on that very front corner. That front corner tucks in. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. Okay. Now I have the whole, it's hard to see in there, but I have the whole interior installed inside. And you can see that it goes right down the walls and all the way around. And this, what I did have to do, I have a small piece of wood. You can use a 1/4 inch piece of balsa or something like that. And I put it, I haven't glued this in yet, but just to temporarily install it, I put a piece of wood from there to over the side to keep it spread apart and keep it open. If you plan to permanently glue it in, you can just glue that to the wall and it won't be a problem. And see, now I have the base here, and this sits right over the top of that base, and the walls come down and sit on top of the base itself. Let me go grab a battery and we'll hook up the lights and I'll show you the interior inside of it. Okay, you can see right here the interior goes in there. You can see all the way around where it goes around the edges. I'm actually lighting this with some LEDs from Evans Designs. It's the I'm running off a 16-volt transformer. It's pretty neat. They really brighten this up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this out. I'll show you where I had to relieve that one little corner, and I'll put the other one in and get you a view of it inside the building. Okay guys, here I've got my original interior back in there. You can see that it goes all the way around. So if you're planning on using this as an indoor layout, you can easily put a full interior in there. I'm working on trying to make a barber shop here, so I've got to make a couple things to put inside. But that piece right there adds a full interior in there that you can see from the front window. It really adds to the appeal of the building itself. So I'm going to turn the light back on. I'm going to show you where I had to relieve that one little corner. And so you can look all the way up to it and you can barely see where, you really can't even see where the front ends. I'm catching part of the windowsill there. But you can get right at, somebody would have to actually lay up beside the building to look in there and see where that ends. So I'm going to go turn the lights back on out here and show you where you have to make one little relief cut, and we'll be through with the video. Okay, here we are. What I had to do, and it's unique to where this door is right here. I have a little bit of resin there, made a little ball, and it just makes this a really tight fit in there. So I did this on the same thing. I just come in here and barely cut off that corner there, and that allowed it to go all the way in place without being tight. According to your building, it may not even be there. It may not even have to be relieved. But I am going to tell you, when on this first one I did, and it's been a couple weeks since I put it in there, you do have to clean this off pretty good. It allows it to bend to go in there because it is a tight fit. But you want it to be, so it goes in there and gives you a nice full room. But anyway, just make sure you clean it off all the way around. Get those flashing off. Get those edges down a little bit. If you want to permanently install it, Now my LEDs, the wires run down behind the wall, and I'll put a hole in the bottom of the layout and run them down the bottom to light the thing. But you can run the lighting in behind. If I were going to install this permanently, I would put some glue. I would glue it, figure out how deep this is, an 1/8 inch, and put me a piece of wood right here in the middle, put a drop of 5-minute epoxy on there, slide it in and push it down and hold it. But I think it'll hold on its own without doing that if you're not going to be moving a lot. But like I was telling you, at the very front, I had this piece of wood here that I slide in, it goes in under the door, you can't even see it, especially if you painted it black, and it just holds the sides out, and you really never have to permanently install this interior. It can just slide in. And as far as your contents, if you're going to have a like a barber chair and a sink and all that, you could mount that, hard mount that to this. And so when you brought your building in, and you could set it, I mean, you can see you can set these right down on top of it. It will not interfere with the sides of the building or anything. And you see, well, heck, the interior is installed in this one, and it just sets right down on there. And you could have all your people, everything you wanted inside of it. It's a neat little building from Just Plain Folks. I think it's running like $79. But you get all the parts, the front porch, the interior flooring, the barber pole, and the bench out front. And like I said, contact them about what other signage they have. But it's a neat little building. It looks like it's built pretty sturdy. Like I said, they'll also have the interiors available for it. Just talk to them about that. And if you have any questions, you always email me. I'm at tiesplains.com. And I hope y'all have a good day.